Alright, fellow travelers, welcome back to the Adventures of a Traveling Don. My name is Benjamin O, and I am here to take you on a full day tour of Austin, Texas. So let's go ahead and check out this great city of Austin. I'm going to show you some hidden gems, and of course, what to do in a full day here in Austin, Texas. Let's go. Okay, so when you're starting your Austin tour, one of the first things you want to do, come down to the south side of the river here down on South 1st Street and come to the Roadhouse Relics Neon Art Gallery. And just outside of it, on the side of the building, I think in 2013 is when they made this Greetings from Austin mural. It's actually become a pretty popular and famous spot when it comes to art. And honestly, you'll see art throughout this video and throughout all of Austin. I think they even do like art tours, like street art tours on Viator and Airbnb, so make sure to check those out when you're here in Austin. But if you want to just come down and snap a quick picture with an Austin sign, this is a great one to do here at the Roadhouse Relics Neon Art Gallery down here on South 1st Street. All right, so while you are on this really south side of the river, come over to Congress Avenue after you've gotten your picture at the Austin mural down on South 1st, and come to this place called Freddo ATX. This is the old Walter Tibbs. He used to be a state senator back at the end of the 19th century. This was a Victorian style building. It was built originally in 1876, then renovated to what you see now in 1909. So it's an old historical building here on South Congress that has been turned into this coffee shop that's really cool. It's not just coffee, they do wine, they do beer. I think they do also live music at different times as well, because they have this beautiful outdoor venue which has enough space to actually play some live music. But really cool looking spot right off of South Congress. And yeah, if you're into history, like I am, this is something you definitely want to check out. So we'll go ahead and try a little baklava. The interesting thing about this place as well is I think it might be owned by someone that has Greek origin, because a lot of the things are like gyros, and for desserts they have things like baklava and stuff like that. So as you can see, just looks so good. Oh yeah, that is a good baklava. A little messy, but really good. All right, so now if you need to get away from the city at any point in time during your time here in Austin, a great place to come to is the Zilker Botanical Gardens. And that is a small part of the otherwise Zilker Memorial Park, which is one of the biggest parks here in Austin. But the Botanical Gardens take up about 31 acres worth of that park, and it is absolutely fantastic. It is I think it's like 4 different styles of gardens. You have like a rose garden, an herb garden, a great kind of prehistorical style garden, and then of course my favorite, which is where we're at now, is the Japanese style garden. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love kind of like that Japanese kind of flair, the Asian flair when it comes to gardens. Just the feng shui is just fantastic. But all 4 of the gardens and this whole thing is, you could spend at least 2-3 hours just truly delving into and really enjoying the Zilker Botanical Gardens. So if you need a getaway, like I said, while you're here in Austin on the south side of the river, come to the Zilker Botanical Gardens. It's only about $8 admission to get in, and it's absolutely fantastic. So one really cool thing about the Japanese garden is they actually have a bonsai exhibit. And I didn't realize until now, when I read the plaque, was the fact that bonsai is a style of growing a tree to make it like most pretty in kind of a pot. I didn't realize that. I thought it was an actual specific tree, and maybe it still is, but from what I read is basically it's the style, because all these different types of bonsais you have here, you have like a pomegranate, you have a Chinese elm, a cedar elm, Japanese maple leaf, they're all bonsais because they're being made in a specific bonsai style. I didn't know that. Things you learn when you travel. Now, I will give the Hartman Prehistoric Garden this. It does kind of look a little, you know, Jurassic Park-ish. It's not necessarily, the ferns aren't necessarily as big as I've seen. There's one at Blarney Castle, the fern garden there. It's massive. But still, it is really kind of cool. It still kind of gives you that Jurassic Park feel. And as you can even see, it's a raptor-like dinosaur in the background. Shh, she's a clever girl. We need to be careful. Alright, so sticking with the park theme, when you're done with Zilker Metro Park and the Zilker Botanical Gardens, come right next door to the Butler Metropolitan Park. It kind of almost extends. I think you can walk in between the two of them. There's like a small creek that separates them, but you can walk in between the two. Both massive, massive parks. But the Butler Metro Park is the one where you get, of course, the big skyline view of Austin, Texas. I actually highly recommend coming around here at nighttime. Get that nighttime view. It's fan-freaking-tastic. But when you come here, one of the places you want to come to is this hill where I'm at. It's just this top big hill, round hill that you can see from anywhere in the park, and this is the Doug Sahm Hill. This is basically named after one of Austin's greatest musicians. He's known as the Texas Tornado. But yeah, it's actually really kind of cool, not just for the pictures that you can get, but it does have this sort of Texas fresco down here on the ground, and it shows all the major points in Texas and how far they are from Austin, which kind of gives you, you know, a bit of a idea of how big Austin really is. You know, from here to El Paso is 580 miles as the crow flies. It's, yeah, it's a big freaking state, but it is a really, really cool park. And like I said, you get that beautiful skyline of Austin, Texas. So anyway, remember, Butler Metro Park, when you're done with Zilker, come right on over. Another thing to do while you're here at the Butler Metro Park is, of course, visit another Texas musical legend, Mr. Stevie Ray Vaughan. They got his statue down here right off the water. It's kind of like right in the center of the park area, but it is a really, really cool statue. And of course, another beautiful skyline. But anyway, yeah, come and visit another of Texas' great musical guys. So if you're walking around Austin and you're not driving around, one thing to remember is the fact that there is only one pedestrian bridge that connects the south side and the main central district of Main Austin, and that is this bridge. This is the Pfluger Pedestrian Bridge, and it's right, basically parallels Lamar Boulevard that goes across, and it's, you know, it's not a very long bridge, but it does span all of the Colorado River here and Lady Bird Lake. So if you are walking or you're doing a little scooter or something, I do highly recommend taking this bridge. It also has some fun facts about the history of the Lady Bird Lake trails. So it is kind of really cool. It gives you, again, great views of Austin, great skyline pictures. But just remember, there is only one pedestrian bridge that crosses between South and the main district of Austin, and that is this one, the Pfluger Pedestrian Bridge. Okay, so when you are in Austin, Texas, or really any Texas city whatsoever, one thing you always gotta do, lunch or dinner, come and get some barbecue. I've actually done this place once before, a full video. I'll leave the link in the description if you really want to delve into it. But Terry Blacks here on the south side is a great spot. It's right across from the Butler Metro Park, and it is not as long of a wait to get your barbecue as if you go to, of course, the famous Franklin spot, or even places like Law Barbecue, which I really enjoy as well. You know, if you're trying to do a true Austin tour and you only have maybe 1 or 2 days to really do it, I would suggest maybe Terry Blacks, just because the wait is going to be less, and it's a huge institution. It's absolutely fantastic. Come from the Lockhart area, and I got myself this beef brisket sandwich, and it's actually good because it's a combo for about 20 bucks with a side. I added a little cornbread, and it comes with a drink. But you got this half-pound beast of a sandwich with just pure brisket inside. I'm just gonna give it a try. Oh, that brisket pulled off so easily. It melts so good. Yeah. Here in Austin, Texas, one thing, it's almost a sin if you don't do it, is get some Texas barbecue. Absolutely fantastic.
Cold hand, frozen feet, raindrops falling on the street. I can't recall when I last saw the sun. Summer's just...
So no trip to Austin, particularly if it's your first time, is ever complete without coming to visit, of course, the Texas State Capitol. To me, one of the most beautiful of the state capitol buildings. I think I've been to about 6 of the 50 state capitals, and the building is fantastic. I love the color to it. And the grounds is, we'll get to the grounds in a minute, but we're gonna go check inside. But yeah, you always gotta definitely come here to the state capitol. And by the way, a great tip for you guys when you're here in Austin, the Capitol parking lot is free for the first 2 hours. And then I think up to about 7 hours, it's only about $12. So if you're here in Austin for say about 7-8 hours, it's actually not a bad deal comparable to the rest if you go down to like 6th Street or like 2nd Street or anything like that. I highly recommend making use of the parking here, and particularly if you're going to peruse this northern side of the downtown district near the Capitol. So definitely take that tip up.
A memory, a faded piece of history. No one can remember all the fun. The late night barbecue.
All right, so I am inside the state capitol, and I can tell you right now, architecturally, it's absolutely fantastic. The biggest thing that you'll notice when you first come in is really the scale of it when it comes to the height. Like, you'll walk into the atrium, and you'll just look up, and of course, you'll have the star in the center of the dome up there, but it's 4 stories up that you can go, and then probably another 150 feet to the top of the dome. It's actually really cool. The way that they constructed it is just phenomenal. You can actually go around into a couple of different places, particularly up here along the rotundas. You have each floor, and around the walls, you will have pictures of past leaders of Texas, including up here at the very top is where you, weirdly enough, you start. And that's where you have our initial presidents of the Republic of Texas before we became a state, all the way down to the bottom, where you have people like, of course, George W. Bush, who was a former governor before he became a president. But yeah, you can even check out the House of Representatives room when they're not in session. Really kind of cool. So, but there's a lot to it, and it's a beautifully constructed building. Really, really cool.
Dipping on a genie juice. Cruising down the road, no thought getting old. The girls are hot, but the beer is cold. Yeah, that's the...
All right, so now that we have checked out the Capitol building, let's check out the grounds, because these are some of my favorite grounds that I've ever been on whatsoever. It's really, really cool, as you'll see in just a minute.
The way we roll, bathing in the sun, on the beach having fun. Whoa.
So one of the great things I really like about the grounds here at the Texas Capitol is all these different memorials that go around, and it covers the history of Texas from the time of the Spanish to about the 25 plus years that it was under the state of Mexico, and then of course its own time as a republic for a while until it joined the United States. And even from then, through the Civil War, through Emancipation, through Reconstruction, all the way through the 1900s, it's really kind of cool. And all these memorials are really cool, particularly this one right behind me, the African American Memorial. It is just absolute, the detail that goes into it is fantastic. And it goes into a lot of the history of African Americans and Africans here in the state of Texas particularly. I didn't even realize this. One of the very first people that landed here in Texas with a few Spanish was a Moorish slave that they brought with them, and apparently he ended up being their interpreter, because apparently he had a gift for learning languages with the natives here in Texas. So it's, you know, kind of an interesting history. You know, it's got good and bad. You know, there are Confederate memorials here, as well as memorials for the Union, memorials for firefighters, memorials, as you see, for African Americans and Tejanos, all that kind of stuff. It's not hidden. There's just a bunch of history here at the Capitol, particularly with all these memorials. And I highly, highly recommend, if you come to the Capitol, definitely check out the grounds as much as you do inside. So while you saw on the South Plaza that a lot of the memorials are sort of kind of like the cultural history of Texas, the North Plaza, when you come check that out, that's where you're going to find a lot of the veteran memorials, particularly for the 20th century wars, such as World War I, World War II, Vietnam War, peace officers, things like that. So yeah, like I said, the grounds here in the state capitol have so many great memorials, and it's just a beautiful, large walking space. If you ever are just looking to kind of get away from the hustle and bustle of downtown, 6th Street, all that stuff, just come up to the Capitol. Really, really cool history.
These lazy days are never done. I work hard every day, don't waste my time on yesterday.
All right, so we've made it to the famous 6th Street here in Austin, Texas, and one of the first places you want to visit while you're here is, of course, the famous hotel that is the Driskill. It's run, I believe, by Hyatt nowadays, but this has been around since the late 1800s, and it's a fantastically, really cool, kind of like Victorian style hotel. It's just got all the, like, the old style bells and whistles. Like, the room I'm in here is actually like an old safe where they would keep all of the people's, like, very personal, private, expensive belongings. It's just absolutely fantastic. The foyer is amazing. There is a cafe and a bar here. I think I did the cafe in my 6th Street food tour that I did last year. Definitely check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description for that one. But definitely make it a point even just to come in and check out the history of the building. There's a lot of great artwork around here as well, but it's a really, really cool piece of history and a great hotel as well.
I never shy away from a good time. Coming on Friday night, I see my friends and feel alright. There ain't no
All right, so as you head east from the Driskill, you enter basically what is Old 6th Street, what's nowadays called Dirty 6, because really a lot of it has slowly become into kind of like Austin's own little Bourbon Street, you know, from New Orleans. Most of it's kind of, you know, clubs at night. It comes more alive at nighttime around here. So if you're young or you just want to have kind of like that Austin party vibe, you know, this is a place to come down to. However, during the daytime, there is one very odd, weird little gem you can definitely check out, and that's what we're gonna go see right now. So this is the Museum of Weird here in Austin, and it is very, very weird. You know, it's got a lot of the sort of horror film monsters on display and a bunch of just other random weird stuff. So it's a very, very odd place for sure. But you know, it's about $13 for admission to get in, and you know, it's a great way to pass the time, cool down if it's hot outside, and you know, get your weirdness on. Well, that's an intimidating door handle. Shall we see what's on the other side? Oh dear God, Nosferatu was the one to greet me. That was actually slightly terrifying. I'll be honest with you, all of these kind of like wax figures of all the different like 1930s and 40s Hollywood monsters are actually really, really cool. Very well done, including Senor Dracula back there. And then of course you have the Frankenstein's monster, and everybody's favorite, Mr. King Kong. Now, one rule you do have to follow while you're here is you're not allowed to touch any of these for obvious reasons. Don't want to break them, except King Kong. You can get inside King Kong's hand for kind of like a photo op. So that's just something that rules-wise is here at the Museum of Weird. But yeah, very well made done wax museum. All right, so our next spot is here down on Red River Street called Central District Brewing Company. And it's been a long day walking and I need myself a beer. So I got myself their delicious looking amber beer. Cheers to you guys. It's been a successful day so far. Oh, I love me a good amber ale. That's absolutely fan-frickin-tastic. And I will say this, Texas, particularly the central area of Texas around Austin, Williamson County, all that, we are known for brewing some dang good beer because we do have a lot of German immigrants, particularly if you get down to like the San Marcos and New Braunfels area. But it's just, oh, it's so good. I do love the beer here in Texas. And like I said, Central District Brewing Company, this is a spot you want to come to when you're downtown in Austin.
Stopping us from having fun. There ain't no cloud in sight. The future is looking bright.
So when you're in Austin and you're looking for a place that's got a lot of good food and a lot of, you know, fun drinks and sort of more of a local vibe to it, stay away from 6th Street. What you want to come down to is Rainey Street. This is not too far off the river. And it's very, very well known. It's a very historical street, and it's a street that's honestly in flux and in change. You know, the never-ending march of progress is slowly turning what used to be kind of a very local spot with old kind of local houses that turned into bars and restaurants, now is making way to, you know, fancier joints, skyscrapers, things like that. So it's an interesting mix as of right now. I don't know in, you know, 5-10 years if it'll all be kind of more of, you know, a gentrified, you know, fancy spot. I don't know how many of those old places will still continue to exist. But as of right now, it's an interesting mix. And first place that we're here is one of the food trucks parks here in Austin that I highly recommend. It's the Night and Day Food Truck Park here on Rainey Street. I actually did a video here on Rainey Street last year. So again, that's another video. I'll leave a link in the description to check out, go in more depth about that. But we're here at Four Brothers Food Truck, Venezuelan food truck, to grab a quick little snack before we head off to our next destination. Okay, so from the Four Brothers Venezuelan place, I got myself just a quick snack, a cheese empanada. So it's got that Venezuelan kind of like white cheese, almost kind of like a little chunky in there. Just looks so good. We're just gonna try this real quick. Oh, so sinfully delicious. Very hot too. Very, very hot, but so good. They also give you a little garlic sauce to go with that, so then dip it in a little bit of garlic sauce and try that. Oh, it's hot on the cheese. It's hot on the cheese, but damn, that's good. That is fantastic.
Cruising down the road, no thought of getting old. Girls are hot, but the beer is cold. Yeah, that's the way we roll, bathing in the...
All right, now, so to showcase to you the newer up-and-coming side of Rainey Street, I'm giving you both sides here. The old one, which is of course the food truck that we went to, plus all the other buildings that you saw. This one is a little bit of a newer spot. This is called Standard Proof Whiskey Company, and it is actually their own rye whiskey. That is basically rye whiskey that they do. And you can either get the original, or they have several different types of infusions, including things like the barrel proof pecan, the pecan, coffee, honeysuckle. They got all different types of infusions that they make, and it is in new American oak, about aged at least minimum of 2 years. So I went ahead and just got myself a regular rye whiskey on a nice clear, very clear ice cube. So cheers to you guys. It's been a heck of a day out. Ooh, that's actually really nice. That goes down very smooth. Wow, you know, sometimes for rye whiskey it's maybe a little too bitter or something, but that's very, Very nice. Yeah, Standard Proof Whiskey Company. I think they have one here in Austin and one in Nashville. So definitely, when you're here down on Rainey Street, come down, check them out.
The sun on the beach having fun. Whoa, these lazy days are never done.
Okay, so to finish us off, one of the major features of Austin, particularly from mid-spring, basically around early April, anywhere from mid-March to early April, depending on the weather, to about the end of October, they have here in Austin what is called the bat phenomenon. And it is a very, very cool phenomenon where here under Congress Avenue Bridge, there is a mass load of about anywhere from about 3/4 to about 1 million bats every year that hang out in these crevices above. Like if you actually look up there, it's hard to see them with inside when because it's all dark, but they hang out there. You can hear the chirping early on, and then they come out right around the time of sunset as a mass flock and just hit the sky. You've probably seen videos about it. It is absolutely fantastic. If you're in Austin around these times from mid-spring to almost the mid-fall, you gotta come down here around sunset one of those days just to check out. And there's so many different places. You can rent a boat, a kayak. There's different cruises that go along the river, and it gives you great sunset pictures as well. You can be on the bridge. You can be, there's viewing platforms on both sides of the river. There's so many different places around Congress Avenue Bridge to check this out. So guys, enjoy the bats. This is a very unique thing here in Austin. Well, guys, I'd say I apologize, but I can't really control nature, so really didn't get too much of a bat show there tonight. Usually the way that they say to do it is to come see the bat show, get to, you know, whatever spot you're viewing it from about 60 to 30 minutes before sunset. And I've seen plenty of videos out there with the bats, you know, coming out almost, you know, even before the sun fully sets, and which is what I was hoping it would happen today. But unfortunately, they decided to stay inside until well after the sun was set. They didn't really start coming out until almost like 9:30. And by that point in time, you know, between a GoPro and my cell phone camera, I don't really have the nighttime equipment to really capture them. And of course, they're dark bats in the night, so it's a little tough to kind of see them. But outside of that, I hope you guys enjoyed the tour of Austin. I hope whenever you come to Austin, you have a much better opportunity and better luck with those bats than I did. You can definitely see plenty of videos on YouTube if you want to check out what it really looks like. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed everything on this particular tour. I'll leave the links in the description of all the different places that I visited today, and of course all the subsequent videos that I've done in the past that kind of gave specific areas much more detail, particularly the food tours. If you haven't already checked out my food tours this year, from Georgetown all the way down into downtown Austin, highly recommend checking out that playlist, my Texas playlist for this particular year. It has been a lot of fun and very filling to me. So, but anyway, guys, if you liked the video, hit that big old thumbs up, and of course share it with your friends. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and subscribe. What are you waiting for? But anyway, I appreciate all the support, guys, and until we meet again, peace out and have a great night.
Cruising down